Welcome back to Jersey Matters. I'm Larry Mendte. I hope you and your family are doing well together during this quarantine. There are predictions there's going to be a big baby boom in December and January because of the coronavirus, and the divorce rate, unfortunately, is expected to go up as well. We talk with Nancy Kislin, a family and child psychotherapist, about the effects of the coronavirus on families. Let's start off with your daughter. Like many people that live in North Jersey, you have a daughter that works in New York City. She tested positive for COVID-19. How is she?
My daughter works and lives in New York City and was probably one of the early ones. And she, as of yesterday, seems to have turned the corner, thank goodness, and is feeling better, which is what we are so grateful for.
She had a rough time?
Really rough time, and she lives alone, so she's been alone for over 3 weeks, and scary time. Definitely a challenge as a mom, as a therapist, how to navigate these last couple of weeks for sure.
All parents are finding it a bit of a challenge, I would think, right now, because they're not used to having their children at home. They're not used to being at home, and everybody's self-quarantining. So there's both a challenge and an opportunity with all these families coming together, isn't there?
Yes. I just had to ban my other daughter and her friend to the basement to make sure this was quiet. And they're all working remotely, and my husband's working remotely on another floor, and it's finding what I call self-care. How do I first take care of myself, my physical and emotional needs, so that I can be available to take care of everyone else?
Yeah, because children are pretty resilient, aren't they? They take their cues from their parents. If the parents are doing well, chances are the children will do well as well.
I agree. And that's why I urge parents, and I've been doing this for a couple of weeks now, as well as for years in my practice, is really be that role model. Take time to think about what is it that you want to teach your children. What kind I employ people to come up with a job description for their kids and include what kind of moral character do you want your child to have, and all those interesting and good things. We want them to be a kind and caring person. Well, now, because we have this enormous pause in our world, it's a great time to sit down as a family. If it's just you and your spouse, whoever, if it's just you alone, and you invite those people into your world and have some of those really purposeful conversations, including how do we create some structure in our life right now? Because when I think of the word resiliency and raising resilient children, there needs to be a structure. There needs to be boundaries. There needs to be as basic as chores. Like, what are your chores for this week? That was a conversation we just had early this morning. Like, hey, who's doing what? And when are you going to do it? And on what time frame? So that, to me, is the key of how do we get through this and focus on, if we can say, the light side of it.
How do we talk to our children? And I know that's a broad, children's broad. I mean, there's children that are toddlers and there's children that are teenagers. And so the answer might vary depending on the age, but how do we explain to them what's going on and that everything's going to be okay?
Of course, age appropriate, but I often say less is more. And that works whether we're talking to our 20-something-year-old or a 5-year-old, and take their lead. If the 5-year-old asks you a simple question, join them where they're at. Don't give them a 5-minute description of everything that's going on. But most important is, don't flood them with your own anxiety and fear, because guaranteed they won't remember all the words that you're necessarily saying, but they'll feel your angst. They'll feel the fear and see it in you. For our older children, again, take their lead. What are they asking? What are they looking for? But the number one thing we all need, I don't care what age we are, is we need to know that we are safe. And how do we create safety, a feeling of security and control in this time? And it can be as simple as washing our hands and having that ritual. In our house, it seems to be the hunt of food. Where are we getting food delivered from? So that's something that my husband feels like he needed to take care of, and he took care of it And now there's a sigh of relief. Whatever is that person's individual need, honor it. Don't try and label it, say it's bad, honor it, and then think about problem solving. How can we problem solve this? And then explain that to children. This is something we were worried about. This is something we can actually do to build our foundation to keep us all healthy and safe. And this is what we can do right now.
I kidded with you that my kids have been self-quarantining for several years because they play video games all the time. But I would imagine that that's not the best way to handle this. If everybody's in isolation, if everybody's in their own rooms, you're really ruining an opportunity to join together as a family, maybe unlike any other opportunity you're going to have.
Exactly. Everything in moderation. Yes, I honor that your teens need to do that. They like to do it. It's very social for them. It's a great distraction. Go for it. But have that structure. I encourage families to have a family meeting. Sunday night's great time. And that's the point where everyone comes together. What's the week going to look like? Who's going where? Well, that conversation has altered now, but we still need to have it. What does it look like? What are you doing this week? What are the interviews you have set up? What are the homework you all have? And then in there, most important is get a commitment from, hey, you guys, how many hours do you think you want to spend gaming this week? And people are always, what is she talking about? No, I think it is such an important question, and put the responsibility on the young person. What do you want to spend 5 hours a day, 10 hours a day? Oh, you want to spend 10 hours a day gaming? Okay, let's do the math. 10 hours a day equals this many hours per week, per month, per year. I do this with teenagers all the time, and I look at them and I say, so you're telling me that you're okay with spending 4 months of your 15-year on this planet with your head in a screen gaming? I usually get some tears there. And this is a good opportunity because on one hand, we understand their need for connection and socialization. But I also encourage you to put in that schedule is time for exercise. I was working with someone the other day and they told me their child hasn't left the house in 14 days. I won't scream in your ear, but I screamed in theirs. That no, we have to get outside. We have to move and put that on the schedule. What can we do as a family? Can we take a hike? Is there a safe place we can go that we can take a hike that's not too far from the house? Can we take a walk? And then my last thing that I sometimes get pushback is chores. This is a great opportunity if families haven't been having younger people do chores, or even if they have their adult children back in their house like I do, divide it up.
I want to go to the other end of the spectrum and talk about grandparents who are necessarily isolated during this time. And children sometimes don't understand why I can't see grandma or grandpa. How do you explain to them, and what do you do about the grandparents that are isolated to make them feel like they're still a part of everything?
This is such an important question, and I hope I can help some parents out there and grandparents out there, because this is what I spend a lot of worry on. And what we did in our family is we have a family thread on everyone's cell phones so that we can check in with the youngest to the oldest, and that if people want to join in that day, sometimes it's just a simple hi, how are you? I also make sure in our house that my children check in on their grandparents and vice versa, once a day, every other day. Something we did in my house years ago when my girls were growing up, my dad was in Wells and he couldn't leave the house, so we would have him story hour with Poppy, and I would have my girls call my dad, and he would have some children's books right next to his bed, and he would read my kids their storybook, and something like that my girls still remember. And that way it gives mom, dad a break. It also brings grandma and grandpa. Now we have FaceTime, so it's so easy. I know a lot of families are doing Zoom calls. For any of you who know that, it's not that hard. Things like that where we can check in. And children love this. And even if there isn't a grandparent, It's still a neighbor, someone from your religious community. There's so many people in need that you as the parent can involve your children in helping to reach out and just say hello and check in.
Great, Nancy. Thank you so much. That's really wonderful information. I really appreciate you spending the time.
Oh, thank you. Stay well.
You too, and best of luck to your daughter. I'm glad she's on the other end of this. That was Nancy Kislin, certified psychotherapist for children and families in Chatham, New Jersey. When Jersey Matters continues, we will talk with a nurse who has been diagnosed with COVID-19 and is under quarantine. That's when Jersey Matters comes right back.